You are listening to the Becoming the Wealthy You podcast with Jermaine Foley. If you're a woman who makes good money in your career or business, but you're not building wealth like you want to, then you're in the right place. In this podcast, you'll learn how to stop overspending, break free from the cycle of debt, save lots of cash, and become the wealthy woman you were born to be. Let's dive in. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. Now, I want to point two things out that may seem very obvious to you, but I want to point them out anyway. This is the very first episode of 2026, so Happy New Year. And the second one is my microphone is not the same. My traditional handy podcasting mic that I've been using since I launched this podcast decided that it didn't want to work today and that it's time to get a new one. So I'm using a different microphone. So if the sound quality isn't what you're used to, please rest assured that what I'm going to tell you today is worth listening to, because what I'm going to share is something that I wish I would have known years ago. And it is relevant, not just in January, but in July and October and every other month of the year. These three things, if you let it, can literally change your life in 2026, especially your financial life. And what I'm going to share can apply to anything, your relationships, your health, or your money. Okay, so don't let the sound deter you. I think the sound is going to be pretty good, but I know it's not going to be at the same level it typically is. So I wanted to give you that heads up. Next episode, we'll be back to our normal sound because I'm going to get a new microphone for podcasting. Did you all know that a regular microphone isn't what you use for podcasting? You need a podcasting mic. And right now I'm not using one. I'm using just a regular microphone that you could use for Zoom meetings. If you do a lot of online meetings at work, you may want to use this microphone. It's called a snowball. But anyway, a little too much information. But I just wanted to let you all know what was going on in case you're like, it sounds a little off today. Well, that's what's happening. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the three ideas that I want to share with you because, like I said, these ideas apply to you whether it's January, July, or October. And it explains why so many people start the year strong and then end up right back where they started, not even a few weeks later. So there's this concept, and I think I've shared it on the podcast before, called Quitter's Day. And that's just around the corner. It's the second or third Saturday in January where people actually give up on whatever goals they set for the new year. So if last year didn't go the way you wanted it to go financially, there's a reason for it. There's a reason why so many people give up on their goals. And these ideas I'm going to share with you today, if you embrace them and implement them, your 2026 could be 100% different than what your 2025 was, okay? So beating yourself up about the fact that you're still where you were last year, nothing changed, you keep trying, but you can't figure it out. No beating yourself up about that. This can be your line in the sand moment, especially if you embrace and implement the three ideas I'm about to share with you. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. Number one, if you want things to get worse, do nothing. Now, I know that sounds weird because who wants things to get worse? No one. But many of us, we do nothing in certain areas of our lives. Sometimes we think that doing nothing will maintain where we are. It will keep us getting the same things we've always gotten. But that's not true. When you do nothing, when you don't put any effort, focus, or intention on a certain area of your life, things don't stay the same, they get worse. Okay? So in order to get worse, the only thing you need to do is to do nothing. Because again, things don't stay the same. They either get better or they get worse. And the only way for things to get better is for you to give intention, focus, and effort towards that particular area of your life. So here are some non-money examples. So let's take relationships, for instance. You can think about friendships or romantic relationships. Let's take romantic relationships first. I was listening to the Oprah Winfrey podcast, and she had an episode titled Gray Divorce. And that just really intrigued me. And I think we've all heard about instances where people get divorced after 20, 30, or even sometimes 40 years of marriage. They've been together for years. They raised their kids. They were partners, sometimes more like business partners, their entire relationship. And then once the kids go away and they're not occupied with that, they notice that their relationship is no longer there. They don't want to be together anymore because they didn't put intention and focus on their relationship. They were too busy maintaining the family, making sure the kids were good, making sure that everything around the house was good, but they didn't take time to nurture their own relationship. So again, once the kids are gone, it's just like they look at each other like, who are you? And so Oprah was interviewing so many women who experienced that, women who experienced a divorce after 20, 30, even 40 years of marriage. And it just really helped me to see like, wow, I'm almost in that position. So I have an 18-year-old and a 20-year-old. The 18-year-old is a senior in high school and the 20-year-old is away at college. So he comes back and forth. So to me, they're still not only in my pockets, but they're in my household. So I don't feel like a full-blown empty nester yet. So I thought to myself, wow, this is so eye-opening. Have my husband and I been intentional about our relationship? Have we put focus on it, or have we really just done nothing? We've just been coasting. And the truth of the matter was, I felt like we could be better. Not that anything was bad, but I think that we could be better at making sure our relationship and friendship was good. And so I took that whole idea to him. I told him about the great divorce, and I said, we need to be very intentional about our relationship, our friendship, our marriage, so that when these kids are really gone, that we still have us. We still are friends. We still laugh together. We still have hobbies. We still support each other and we still love each other. And that conversation alone has done wonders for my marriage. And so you can think about this with friendships as well. Think about the friends you had back in college or even high school. Sometimes time just passed and you don't check in. Nothing happened bad. Nothing went wrong. You didn't have a fight or an argument or any of that. But the friendship dwindles. Why? Only because you didn't nurture it. Only because you did nothing. And so you can look at it with your health as well. Health declines. If you do nothing, your health will decline just with age, right? You start to see your blood work looking a little off. Your cholesterol gets higher. Your blood pressure gets higher. Your A1C gets higher. Why? Because you've been doing nothing. You haven't put any focus and intention on that area of your life. So it deteriorates. And if you want it to stay the same or even get better, you can't just coast. You can't just do nothing. You have to put effort, focus, and intention in that area of your life. And so, of course, if it matters in relationships and if it matters with your health, it matters with your money. Okay? Doing the same things you've always done, ignoring your money, not paying attention to it, not saving, not investing, not working on your habits or your systems, you will get worse with money. That is why so many of us feel so far behind. We feel like we should be further along. So if you want your money to get worse in 2026, just keep doing what you did in 2025. But if you want it to get better, it's going to require you to focus on it, to have intention for it to get better, and to be committed to making it better. It's not going to happen on its own. It will not happen magically. And honestly, even worse, it will deteriorate if you do nothing. Okay, so concept number 1 is if you want things to get worse, just do nothing. Now, let's move on to concept number 2. And here it is. Self-control is not enough. So many women that I meet through email, through wealth building strategy consultations, and just through life, people tell me all the time that they think their issue is that they need more discipline, they need more self-control, and they need to try harder. So they think the problem is within them. It's something wrong with them. That's the reason why they're not building wealth. That's the reason why they can't stop overspending. That's the reason why they can't seem to stay out of credit card debt. Even though they've figured out how to pay it off time and time again, it keeps coming back. And they think more discipline and more self-control is what they're lacking. But here's what I want to tell you. Self-control, discipline, and trying harder all runs off of one thing: willpower. Willpower is a limited resource that all of us humans have. We literally can do anything for a very short period of time. So, willpower is not for long-term change. It is for short-term gains. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Willpower is not for long-term change. It is for short-term gains. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have a vacation coming up and you tried on your bikini and you're just like, I need to lose about 5 or 10 pounds. I've got about 6 weeks before my vacation. I know what I'm about to do. I'm about to go on a diet. I'm only eating this, this, and this. I'm swearing off carbs. I'm not drinking anything that's sugary. I'm not eating any desserts. I'm going to white knuckle it and use self-control, use discipline, use willpower to muster through. And in 6 weeks, I should be 10 pounds thinner. And guess what? You can do anything for 6 weeks. I bet you 100% that person, if they're serious, they can lose the 10 pounds using willpower, putting themselves on a strict diet, giving up all the things they love. Anybody can do anything for 6 weeks or so, right? But then what's going to happen after the vacation? Do you think they're going to be able to maintain that restrictive way of living? No, they're going to revert back and they're going to gain not only 10 pounds back, but they'll probably gain even a little more than that. Why? Because they relied on willpower, self-control, and discipline to change. They relied on willpower, okay? And listen, here's what I want you to understand about this. You can use willpower to lose 10 pounds, but you cannot use willpower to lose 100 pounds. Because 10 pounds is like a temporary gain, but 100 pounds, that is a long way to go. It's going to take you months, maybe even years to lose 100 pounds. And so willpower will not sustain you. But let me tell you what will. Systems, protocols, boundaries, and support. Let me break it down. Systems are things that you put in place so that you don't have to rely on willpower. So when you think about money, that's having an automated system that runs in the background. So even if you don't feel like savings are happening automatically. You don't have to think about it, right? Protocols. Protocols are kind of like rules that you live your life by. Like some of us have standards. I like to think of them as standards. So for me, one of my protocols is whenever I feel the urge to buy something that was impulsive, that I wasn't planning for, I have to wait 24 to 48 hours before I actually buy it. I pause before I pay. That's a protocol that you can implement in your life. And protocols are not one size fit all. Some of us need a sleep on it rule and others of us need other types of standards and protocols put in place. And that is the power of having someone like me working with you one-on-one in my one-on-one coaching program, because we look at your real life, we look at your spending triggers, we look at your problem areas, and we design systems and protocols around that. Another thing you need to implement is boundaries. So for money, if you want to use credit cards, putting any and everything on your credit card and then looking at it at the end of the month and wondering how in the world did the balance get this high, and then you spent more than you even bring in, that's not a financial wealth building strategy. That is a plan for disaster. So putting any and everything on your credit cards may not be for you. You need boundaries around, okay, what goes on credit cards? What goes on a debit card? What am I using cash for if you decide to use cash? I don't really use a lot of cash, but some people like to use cash. I have one client now who, for her, she's like, I just want to use cash because I want to see how much money I have to spend and how much is leaving. And that's what we're doing. So like I said, none of this is a one size fit all. This is tailored to you, your real life, your goals, your dreams, your values, and your problem areas. And then the other thing is support. Too many of us try to do this stuff on our own, and we've been trying to do it on our own for years. A lot of you are high achieving women who have done well. You've gone to college, you've gotten the degree, you've gotten the career, you've climbed the ladder, you're making the money, you've started the business, you've done everything right. But this is one area that's just like, I just can't figure this money thing out. So get support, get someone in your corner to give you guidance, to give you structure, to give you accountability, to help you have some accountability, not just to them, but to yourself. If you've been listening and realizing that money is the one area you just can't seem to figure out, even though you're successful everywhere else, hear me when I say this. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that traditional money advice wasn't made for women like you. Women who earn good money, want to build wealth, and still enjoy their lives. My clients all start where you are, paying off the same credit cards over and over again, saving up to a certain amount only to spend it back down, or feeling like based on their income, they should be so much further along by now. But with my help, they change all of that. One client paid off over $11,000 in credit card debt and never ran it back up again. Another saved $5,000 in just 2 months. And another went on multiple vacations without going back into credit card debt. They are not special unicorns. They're women just like you, great at making money and ready to finally get great at not only enjoying it, but also keeping it and growing it. So if you've been listening and thinking she's talking directly to me, this invitation is for you. Don't keep pushing this off. You and I can fix this together, privately, safely, and without judgment. All you have to do is go to jermainefoley.com/consult to book your wealth building strategy consultation or click on the link in the show notes. Let's finally get you unstuck with money. Okay, so instead of relying on self-control and discipline, you need to rely on systems, protocols, boundaries, and having support. And let me talk a little bit more about the beauty of having support. So what I help my clients do in one-to-one money coaching is bring out what's already in them. So many of you don't believe in yourself. You think you're bad with money. We're going to talk about that in a second. You think that you're too far gone. You don't know if it's possible for you to stick with the plan. You've tried budgeting in the past. You've tried apps. You've tried Dave Ramsey. You tried so many things and it just hasn't worked. I promise you, it's not a you thing. It's a structural thing. It's your systems, your protocols. It's the way you're going about it. You're working against your brain, not with your brain. You're trying to put yourself on a strict budget. You're trying to do all these things that feel horrible. And so, of course, your brain rebels and it just doesn't let you stick with any of it, right? And that is why so many of you don't believe that change is possible for you. So here's what support does. Not only does it give you everything I said, systems, protocols, boundaries that are tailored to your real life, your spending triggers, the problem areas in your life with money, the money challenges that are unique to you, no one size fit all anything. So we get you on track with all of that. But then guess what? Life will life. Your plan is not always going to go as planned. And so you're going to have to get back on track sometimes. You're going to get knocked off the horse. And that is where most people quit. When when the plan doesn't go as planned, then we quit and we say, see, I can't do it. See, I don't have discipline. See, I don't have self-control, right? But when you have someone like myself in your corner who's been there and done that for herself, who's trained in life coaching tools and financial concepts, and who have helped other women just like you do this and make huge progress, when you have someone like that in your corner, then you have someone to help you get back on the horse and say, it's okay. Let's learn from the mistake and not let the mistake make us quit and give up. A coach will help you to not make changes that are just temporary, but changes that are permanent. That is what support is. That's the difference between relying on self-control. Can you see the difference? Because when you have all of that in place, you don't even need self-control. Your life is set up so that it just happens. And it's set up in a way that you are supported. And so when things do go wrong, you're not left to try to figure it out on your own. and you're not left to your brain where it's going to beat you up and tell you, see, you're just bad with money, you should quit and you should give up. None of that will be your normal because you have support. So if any of what I just said resonates, you are invited to book a wealth building strategy consultation with me. This is a complimentary conversation where we'll look at where you are, where you want to go, and how to get there, right? Because here's what I want you to know. More information doesn't cause you to change. How many of you will say this to yourself? I know what to do. I know what I should be doing, but I'm just not doing it. I can't get myself to do it. That's because information alone doesn't cause change. Structure, support, and systems do. This is exactly what the wealth building strategy consultation is for. We look at the root causes of what's actually going on with your money, not just the symptoms. I walk you through a plan that is tailored specifically to you to tackle your biggest money challenges. And if it's a fit, I'll tell you exactly what it looks like to get started with one-to-one money coaching so that you can start 2026 with focus and intention and not repeating the same habits and patterns you did in 2025. So if that's you, all you have to do is go to jermainefoley.com/consult. That's Jermaine with a G, foley.com/consult to book your session. Remember, it's complimentary. And you can also go to the show notes to click the link and it'll take you right there. Okay, so now let's talk about the final concept and then we're going to wrap it up for today. So concept number 3 is change has to start from the inside out. Listen, most people start changing from the outside in. They create a budget. They take on a no spend challenge. They create temporary rules. But what has not changed? Their self-image, the way they see themselves, the way they think about themselves. So when you just start trying to do a bunch of things, but you still think you're bad with money, and you say things like, I'm bad with money, I'm a spender, I can't be trusted, what you're doing is reinforcing something that's incongruent with the actions that you're taking. So you're doing things like budgeting and trying to not spend, right? But it's incongruent with how you see yourself. You're trying not to spend, but you think you're a spender. You're trying to budget and be organized with your money, but you're saying and you think of yourself as being bad with money. And your brain is like, this is inconsistent. How am I this person, but I'm acting like someone I'm not? And then again, you're relying on willpower to do that, and the willpower will fizzle out. You'll go back to doing the things you've always done. Okay? So one of the things I want to offer you is this. I am statements are the most powerful statements you can make. We're always using them. And most of them are negative, and they run quietly in the background. I am bad with money. I am a spender. I am a hot mess, right? So the key to this is not gaslighting yourself into believing something about yourself that you don't believe. So instead of going from I am bad with money to I am amazing with money, that's not going to work either. You're too smart for that, right? You can say something like this to yourself. You can practice things like, I am learning how to be good with money. I am becoming someone who handles money well. I am changing, right? And then when you start to take those actions from that place, then your brain isn't rebelling so much because it's not so far off from what you believe yourself to be. So you do not change by forcing yourself to behave differently. You change because you see yourself as someone who's starting to change, someone who's starting to figure it out, someone who knows that they can change and that they're not stuck. So here's a quick recap. Without intention and focus, things deteriorate. They don't stay the same. So if you do nothing, things will get worse. Number 2, self-control is not enough. You need structure, you need systems, and you need support. And then the final concept that I really want you to take into 2026 is that identity drives behavior change, not just changing your behaviors alone. You have to start seeing yourself as someone different and take baby steps with it. You don't need to go from I'm bad with money to I'm amazing with money, but you can go from I'm bad with money to I'm learning how to get better with money. And I would love to support you in that. And so again, I invite you to book a wealth building strategy consultation with me to start the year off strong. And not only start it strong, but end it strong. Imagine looking back 1 year from today and seeing yourself in a completely different financial situation. You're no longer overspending. Your credit card debt is gone. Not only is it gone or tremendously lower, but it's not rebounding. It's not building back up. That's the issue with most of us. It's like we know how to pay off credit cards. We've paid them off several times. It's keeping them paid off. That's the issue. Imagine being that woman who's in a situation where you use your cards, you have boundaries around them, you have protocols around them, and you use them responsibly, and you don't let them build up to the place where you're paying credit card interest. Imagine what that's like. Imagine your savings is way more than where you started. Imagine you're investing more. Imagine that you're doing all of this while still enjoying your life, not going on a strict budget. I promise all of this is possible for you, and I would love to help you get there. Again, you can go to the show notes to book your consultation or go to jermainefoley.com/consult. All right, I will see you next week. Bye-bye. Hey, if money is the one area of life you just can't seem to figure out, even though you make good money, you're not alone. That's why you're invited to book a complimentary one-to-one money consultation with me so that we can figure out how to solve your biggest money challenges. To sign up, simply go to jermainefoley.com/consult or check out the show notes. Hope to meet you soon.